has authorized updated COVID-19 boosters for children as young as 5, seeking to expand protection ahead of an expected winter wave. We wanted to speak to an expert on this to help us answer some of the questions that we frequently hear from some of our viewers and parents. So joining us tonight is Jessica Dixon, an infection prevention specialist at WakeMed. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your time.
Sure, thanks for having me.
So to get started on this, we just want to, what is the difference right now about this new booster shot than the shots that kids have received previously?
There's really not a huge difference between them overall. The big difference is that this new vaccine booster is what's called a bivalent vaccine, which just means it has 2 strains in it. So the original vaccines and the original boosters that were created only had that original COVID strain in it. Now, as we've come through the Omicron kind of crisis, we have added that particular strain to the vaccine because it was very different than the original strain. And so this just gives you protection against 2 different strains. It's very similar to what happens with flu vaccines. Every year there are multiple strains of flu that are covered in the flu vaccine, and they change whenever the virus changes. And it's the same thing they're starting to do with the COVID vaccine.
Now, parents are getting back to life as normal with their kids. Schools are open again. Kids are coming to and fro. They're bringing home little illnesses here and there, and people are starting to deal with that again. I think some parents are wondering how necessary it is to continue with these boosters at this point. Could you speak to some of those parents who might think the initial shot and the initial booster is enough for their child?
Sure. Well, you have to remember that the immunity that you get from these boosters does wane over time. And the immunity that you get from the original shots wane over time. And just like for adults, kids do need that extra boost to boost their immunity back up. I think that some people feel like COVID isn't a serious illness in children. And in fact, there are many, many children who get it and don't get severely ill. But particularly children who have underlying medical conditions or immunocompromising conditions are at high risk for complications from COVID. There are many children who've gotten something called MISC, multisystem inflammatory syndrome in children, which is a complication of COVID that comes after a COVID infection that makes kids very sick. And there's even been some more recent research that has shown that people under the age of 18 who have COVID are 2.5 times more likely than people who didn't have COVID to have diabetes. So to develop that diabetes after the onset of COVID. So they don't know yet exactly what that relationship is, but they do know that there's a relationship between those 2 conditions. If you can protect your child from that, you absolutely, I think, want to do that just with getting this simple booster shot.
No, of course, people can still get COVID when they get the vaccine. Does that weigh into the statistics you were just saying? So if people are vaccinated and still get a mild case of COVID, it increases their chances of something like diabetes in children?
There are still certainly complications that can arise even if you are vaccinated and even if you're boosted, but the chance of having post-COVID complications is much, much smaller in people who have been fully vaccinated and have received their booster shot.
How do people get the new booster if they want it right now? How do they get their kids in line to get one? And also, should parents be prepared for any specific different types of side effects that they maybe didn't see first few times around?
The side effects from this booster should be very similar to whatever was experienced with initial shots or with boosters in those people who've already had booster shots before. It tends to be things like fatigue, sometimes a fever, sometimes body aches, things like that. Definitely pain at the injection site is very common. All of those things are easily treatable with over-the-counter medications if they are severe enough to warrant that, but most people are able to just kind of push through them. And it's not that different from the side effects you would see with other vaccines that your kids get when they're little. As far as availability, these vaccines can be gotten at your pediatrician or your family provider's office. Many of them have them available. You can also get them at your local county health department. You can get them from most retail pharmacies. The only caution with retail pharmacies is that different pharmacies have different rules about the ages of children that they will vaccinate. Some won't take kids under 12, some won't take kids under 10, some take kids down to as young as 5 years of age. So you definitely want to check with the retail pharmacy before you try to go get it there. If you aren't sure exactly where to get it, the CDC has a great website set up. It's vaccines with an S on the end, .gov, and you can go there and search by zip code and see what's available close to you.
Helping a lot of parents navigate this. Thank you so much. We appreciate you speaking with us. Jessica Dixon, infection prevention specialist at WakeMed. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.